agriculture, oil and gas, and construction. This will guarantee access to hands-on skills that can enable the youths to start their own jobs. The innovations and products showcased today by all the students from the technical and vocational institutions should be capitalized and improved for mass production. In order to tap into the regional and continental markets, we must first address the issue of quality. The aim should be to produce quality and efficient products for the international market. Therefore, technical and vocational education and training is the solution to the issue of youth unemployment. With such skills and innovations as showcased today, we are on the right track of harnessing quality skills and industrial growth and development. I applaud the staff of TVET institutions for giving the students hands-on skills and applied knowledge. UBTEB, as a skills gatekeeper, must ensure that quality skills are obtained through rigorous quality assurance systems of training and assessment. I encourage Ugandans to go for training in vocational education in all the institutions, and also mobilize others who are still negative about it to also send their children to these institutions to get productive skills regardless of your level of education and status. This is a generation and the era of skills. Finally, I once again congratulate the leadership, and I wish you success in ensuring Ugandans get appropriate skills so that we can compete locally but also compete internationally. I now take the honor and pleasure to declare this conference officially open in my country. Thank you all.
Another big round of applause for our chief guest, the Right Honorable Justine Kasule Lumumba, and to our chief guest, you will give us a few extra moments, and just before we get to have, and we will have our next item, which is going to be a keynote address. And we would have really loved, and we thank God and we thank you for as much that you accorded us more time. So ladies and gentlemen, will allow me invite Dr. Kedres to the agenda to take on this session. We have a keynote address, which is very, very important for us to be listening to. And the keynote address is going to be looking at the correlational analysis between the student's performance in theory and the practical summative examinations. So we are looking at practice versus the theory. Away from the cramming, you know, we all crammed Maji Rebellion and all those things. But many a times when we are in the workspace, you keep asking yourself, how is that helping me right now where I am in the workspace? So we will be looking at that. And as our chief guest, she actually highlighted a number of key issues. The synergies are very, very important, as she did state. Skills are very important, even when you have the certification or not. But I love that she talked about certification as key, and also the aspect of government providing kits. I think that is a very welcome one, that after I get the skills, am I able to employ myself before I can be able to employ others. So Dr. Kedres will be taking on this one as we try to gauge, and we will determine as a government, do we keep theoretical? Do we go practical? How do we bring them both together in the education system? Dr. Kedres, over to you.
Thank you very much, manager of the program. I don't call you master of ceremonies. We are not celebrating now. We are in a program. Chief guest, Right Honorable Justine Kasule Lumumba, we are so thankful that you made it. And we are so excited about the advice you've given us already. And we definitely will keep very close to your door. Thank you very much. Can you join me again to appreciate her? My job this afternoon is very simple. I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. And our keynote speaker this afternoon is Professor Kawasa John David. John David is from the Makerere University College of Veterinary Medicine, Animal Resources, and Biosecurity at Makerere University. Since his first graduation, he has served for 33 years. He did his first degree in veterinary medicine and his second degree from Makerere University, and did his PhD in Göttingen University in Germany. He's done a lot since then, but currently Professor Kawasa is the Principal Innovations Director of Afrisa SPEDA, Industrial Schooling and Research Systems. He is also the Director of Afroham Academy, championing the development of the One Health workforce training, research, and services programs to deliver transformative One Health among African communities. He is also currently the Institutional Development Principal Investigator for the Center of Global Health and Biosecurity at Makerere University. Professor Kawasa has served on many national and international boards. He has written a lot of work to get professorial. You must have published, and he's still publishing. Now, allow me now to invite you, John David. His topic is not what the Master of Programs has read. That one will be handled after his keynote address. So most welcome to share with us from your wealth of experience. How do we ensure that what the Right Honorable Justin Kasule has just said can actually work? Welcome.
The chief guest, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored, and I would like to appreciate very much for the opportunity that I've been given to share a few thoughts on this very important day. The system I was to make my comments in about 45 minutes, but in the interest of time, I'll be getting through this paper as quickly as possible. And so as we get through, I'll select what is critical and make the presentation. Chief guest and members, kindly, I'll be guiding, then you bring the next slide. So let me have, do not bring so many at once. I'll just say next, then you give me next. That will help. Thank you. Before I begin to articulate some of the reflections I would like to make today, there are some just basic, simple questions. I'm going to school to learn. What am I learning? If I want to learn to work, I will go to the people who are working, and they show me how to work, and I learn to work. If I want to learn to think, I go to people who spend time thinking, and I learn to think. if I want to learn to create work, I will not just learn to work. I will learn to work. I will learn to make the product. I will also learn to sell the product. So learning to work is not necessarily the same as learning to create work. If I want to learn to help to develop my parish, I will learn to work. I will learn to work with the people. I will learn to create work. I will also learn the development process and many other things. The ability for me as a human being to execute what I want to do is the skill. So if I learn and I have ability to think, I have a skill to think. It's not automatic that because you have a brain, you are a thinker. It's not automatic that because you have hands and you have all these other things, you are able to work. Or because you know how to work, you can create work. So the challenge, which is a conceptual one, when we have done so much work of these results, and congratulations, is to unpack the issue of what a skill is, the competence to perform that you want. The tendency right now, or the phenomenon that we have right now on the market, is the tendency to think that when I learn to work, then I have gotten all the skills. I now get to my next slide. This slide, chief guests and members, is showing the speed of how the population is increasing through this century. 30 years ago, a policy framework was laid on how capacity of the human capital in this country will be grown. Another framework is going on, and the population, this slide in an animation is showing how the population is increasing over this time. We need to learn to work now, but we also need to begin creating a capacity for the jobs that are feeding into this population. If we wait and we get there 30 years, the jobs will come and we shall be again work at that time. It is common knowledge that there are jobs that have to be created. There are jobs that we should go and fit in. And there are also jobs outside this country that we need to go and get. Next slide. Click again. You're getting backward. Next slide. Yes. Uganda is projected to be one of the top 10 countries in this century that's going to have the highest population. We need to learn to plan for this population and how they are going to work and how they are going to create jobs. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. I'm cutting them. Next slide. As the population doubles, the amount of food on the table must double. The amount of fish, as people get the money and they get to pork joints and so on, and they want fruits and so on, the capacity and the ability of the people to put that on the table has to increase. Is there opportunity to learn, to work, and to create jobs in this opportunity? As the people increase to billions, they want shoes, they want shirts, they want all the things that we have around. How do we increase that capacity to take? This slide is showing in just a few years you need to provide 40 million kilograms of tilapia per day on this continent. You will need to slaughter 1 million heads of cattle on this continent for people to enjoy the meat. Now, if you have 10 million in Uganda right now, what do we need to do to get advantage of those jobs and that money? Next slide. Next slide. This projection comes from the African Union models. The luxury of extensive production, moving around with animals all over the place, will expire by 2030. The implication is that you will be on a quarter an acre. His Excellency is talking about 4-acre model, 2-acre model, 1-acre model. It's food. How will I make money from a quarter a piece of land that the people have that have doubled? Is that a skill we should be looking at? Intensification skills. Should we be talking about now, or should we be simply doing the skills that are required by the farms right now in Uganda? Jobs that are coming and jobs that are there now. The choice is ours to plan for both. Next slide. With increasing population, the earth is shrinking. The same size, but it's shrinking. So where will people sleep? If the houses are, each one of them is having a bungalow, the houses will have to go up. Who will construct these houses? Is this a skill we prepare for now, or is a skill that will be prepared for later? Next slide. The earth is heating up. Everybody was in the conference just recently talking about the earth heating up. How do you help us to reduce the heat? Plant the trees. Are there jobs in planting the trees along all these roads that have been opened up, putting mangoes, putting the fruits, reduce the carbon, and ask people to pay for money? The skill for that may not necessarily be the same skill when we get to simply go to the workplace and get the skill. Next slide. Animals, plants are being finished. We have now urban centers. From here to Kayunga, there are many townships. There are many coming up. As we urbanize, the land is taken up. The human being is displacing all animals, is displacing all plants. Shall we live on a planet with human beings alone? Or we can actually create these districts, these sub-counties, with good places where there are plants and animals. Some of the animals that were taught to us, I'm from the elephant clan. But some of the animals, the totems you have, you may not be seeing them now. There are jobs in some of these things. How do we rethink and create jobs? Next slide. This slide was just showing us what proportion is expected of the species that will be lost from Uganda. Up to about 20%. Slide, next slide. Just next slide, please. The only thing which is increasing as humans excel in the activity are the germs. They are there in the wild. As you go there, they start to eat you up. The consequence is germs are multiplying everywhere. And everybody is asking for medicine. Everybody is asking for Covidex. Everybody is asking for these things. Are these jobs? Are these new skills? Where are the people who are doing, where we can go, the world of work, where we can go and get these skills? If they are not there, can we create them? Next slide. Our time is a planetary civilization. We have been interconnected. We are interdependent. We have views that have been there in the last century that we may not want to live, but the force moving demands that we take on a new way. Next slide. The population change and the people who are being looked after very well becoming more elderly, creating more opportunities. The urbanization is creating new opportunities. Climate change, land use, technologies. The world of work now may not give us the competence for all this. Next slide. Next slide. Every child being born today, on average, I think more than 3 million in this country, they are all looked after well. Thank you very much, Chief Guest. The government is looking after, and people are living more. But each one of these wants to look like me, like you, and possibly even better. How do we reconstruct that? Next slide. We need to urgently reverse the peasantry conundrum. And this is where this system is creating a very important opportunity. I'll be highlighting shortly the academic skilling system and this industrial skilling system. From the academic skilling system, children are shunted. They come out born with a very good brain on day one. Everybody born with a very good brain. After going to P1, the teacher declares that I am foolish because I got a certain mark. And this is stated for the next 7 years. My mindset configuration begins to tell me that I'm a finished case. And by PLE exams, the system shunts you out. We are very grateful for this industrial skilling system. But policy frameworks are required to make sure that these mindsets we had, which said that the academic skilling system was the only system of assessing a competence, is just one option. I can take this option and another option. I'll be highlighting skilling model. I already built the argument that the ability to think like I'm doing now is a skill. Ability for the lawyer to debate and solve your problems is a skill. Ability to write a report when the PS says write and you don't write the report, you have no skill. The notion that the skill is at the grassroots needs to be radically changed by policy, so that those who take the academic skilling system are free to take through their talent. And those who take the industrial skilling system, they are simply options. Next slide. It is not a shortage. That man there is standing on ladders to cross over. If you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. The methods we used have to be improved. That's all. The policies and the framework. Next slide. Now I come to the skilling model. This is where I have dedicated my time to analyze the skilling model, how you build the competence of people in the country, in our society. And it came, chief guests and members, when I became dean many years ago, over 20 years. And when I had presided over graduation, one of the students who had paid the money privately came and said, I've graduated. Do you have anything I can do? 5 years you have been learning, then you're asking me. I sobered up. What has this student been learning? If the student is asking me, whether you have anything to do. I dedicated my time to rethink. And so far I have observed 5 competence building models that we are practicing here. There could be more. The academic skilling model, the industrial skilling model, the blended skilling model. And we need to refine these, ladies and gentlemen. The African skilling model and the polygenic skilling model, which we have been trying to work on. Next slide, I want to highlight this. In the academic skilling model, we are focused on nurturing the academic talent, and the skill is intellect-based. The dominant proportion of learning is intellectual challenge. They challenge you in primary, and the brain is growing. They challenge you everywhere, and we are very good in this. There is an authority in this area. The knowledge you need is generalist. And you produce thinkers, innovators, scientists, administrators, and supervisors. The model was introduced by the colonialists to pick out a few thinkers who are very good, get them to go and administer the peasants who are producing the products they needed. The model is not bad. You just need to know what kind of skill you need. The next model, slide, the industrial skilling model. Focus on nurturing industrial, occupational, and life-relevant talent and skill. The learning environment is in service in industry. Dominant proportion of learning is practical challenge. Practical challenge for you to generate knowledge, acquire the knowledge, package it, and get a new product. The engineers from computer science, information technology would agree with me. Without hearing, the eye seeing, the mouth, the nose, and the tongue, which are the 5 senses plus touch, to be able to receive the signals that are in nature here, just to touch and so on, it is impossible for anyone here to have knowledge. Signals are coming from here, received by these 5, taken into the fundamental processor, the brain. You have the database, you process the information, you keep getting, you get the knowledge. How much you process that, it is your decision, it is your system. You can process this knowledge to the level that your hands can work. We talk about the knowledge value chain. If you stop at comprehension, you stop there. If you stop at thinking, you stop there. If you process it further, you come to make products. And this is the science, which is the knowledge, the technology, which is the product coming out of that, and the innovation. This is a knowledge value chain. And the industrial skilling model gives you the challenge, extract the knowledge, process, make the products out of it. Now, this model is what we are discussing here. The main loophole right now under the system is that we have a partial industrial skilling model, where we are simply saying, just learn a few things. You learn from the workplace, but you must be challenged and you get out. And you should, the challenge of the brain to extract that can go up to the degree level. We don't need to stop at that level. So the notion that industrial skilling model stops at the grassroots is a faulty one, which we should be debated by all of us, and we progress this to a full scale. Next slide. The blended skilling. This is why we have been grappling We do this TVET, BTVET, and so on. The degrees vary. We will discuss that. The next one, the African skilling model. The African skilling model is industrial in nature. The traditional one, which was there well before the colonialists and the missionaries came. With this system, it was growing the holistic, life-relevant values that were critical. They started molding you. It was along your life. They mold you on family development. They mold you on livelihood. They mold you on war. So you could see people moving with the spears, staying at home, but they're all the time ready for war. They had their classification. We will discuss that at a later stage. But I've highlighted, because the system was holistic, every culture here is able to give you entertainment. They have music, they have instruments, and so on. The whole century, that one which ended with the academic skilling model, no single instrument has been created from it. You look at the family development model. People are lamenting the values have been lost. The academic skilling model is not able to do that. Security development. People don't know how to defend themselves. But somehow, this system has been propagated in another way. Communication, health, the herbal systems that we had. These people knew that if you are a badly behaved boy, you will not give even the medical skills because you might poison people. These systems have been analyzed. Holistic life and lifelong, you grow along. We need to debate. We have done so much, but we need now to repeat what do we borrow from this to build the model for this century. Next slide. The polygenic is where we have been trying to develop one. I said I've been the foundry skill, the products, the enterprise, and the debate was, ladies and gentlemen, if you get a skill, you can gain the world. But if you want to create a job, I can go further to get the skill for making the product, the skill for making the enterprise. I can go further, make the skill for development of our community, and so on. Next slide. How would you then assess? Just a quick one here. Do you have the knowledge? Yes. If you have the knowledge, what is it for if you don't have ability? You must process the value chain to continue to have ability. If the ability is good, what about the mindset? If the mindset is good, what about the social capital and the network? And if this is good, what about the integrity? We might pass on things to you. Most people have jobs, but they are paid to have people employed because the integrity is weak. Next slide. Another criteria which have been what? And this was the thank you. Thank you very much for working around that. In our work, we have been saying, how do you assess? There are many assessment things, but we said we also have what we call creating a pedant generation. Are you skilled? Yes. What are you doing with the skill? I'm making a product. I'm productive. Yes. But are you making the money? Are you innovative? Are you developmental? Are you accreditable? Many people will tell you, I have all this money, but in the source of machine. People want to be accredited and recognized. Are you nationalistic? Are you a transformer? we can have a conversation to just highlight assessment models that you can look at. The next one. I mentioned here that the two dominant skilling models are the academic skilling model and the industrial skilling model. Now, why not rethink? A lot of effort has been, and as I mentioned, remember, this is food for thought so that progress can be made subsequently. If I have a primary certificate in academic model, why don't I have a primary industrial certificate? If I have an ordinary certificate in the academic model, why don't I have an ordinary industrial certificate? If I have an advanced certificate, why don't I have an advanced industrial certificate? And you progress up to an industrial degree at first degree, up to industrial master's degree. We don't have to be conscripted. A master of science, yes, this is okay. But there was one part, people sat down and started thinking through this. This is a level of growth. Why do you have a general who cannot carry Kalashnikov? This is the debate. The industrial skilling model. I can have a PhD from the philosopher's side, that is skilled to think and philosophize and concept, but I can have an industrial doctorate where I have innovated. And these models, people have tried them. As I conclude, next slide. Yes. The models of skilling should be realized. There are many things, but we need to realign them properly so that the young men and women actually know, as I start here, I'm going to pursue this. The teachers tell me quickly, by this time, your talent is in this direction, but you have many other livelihood options. And the policy framework is adjusted so that we're able to take care of today and tomorrow. Two, to strengthen the industrial skilling model so that people know I can get a degree, not just saying I am being equated to the academic skilling model. I have an industrial skilling model. I have developed, I make products, my capacity to think, but the way I was trained is reasonable and I'm capable of coping. Chief guests and members, I would like to end there. And I thank the organizers for everything and giving me the opportunity to share a few provocative thoughts.
Join me again to really appreciate Professor David. Thank you so much. It's evident, Honorable Chief Guest, that this kind of conference can't be done in one day. His paper, for example, needed a whole hour to share, but also maybe 2 hours to discuss. So, Chief UBTEB, I think you may need to organize something for us as a follow-up. But I would like to thank you on behalf of all these who are here. And before our chief guest leaves, she's going to sign on this commemorable structure that she has put a brick to. Those of you who didn't come to Ntinda, you missed. We now have an engineer with us, and then we have the teacher, and we have the politician. We are so, so glad that God gave you so many talents, and you are using them. Thank you ever so much. So we are going to have this signing, and then after that signing, we will break for lunch. And when we come back from lunch, we will have the presentation that should have followed the professor's keynote address. We are hoping that, Doctor, in that analysis, some of the questions that Professor will be answered, hopefully. But we hope that after that, then we can have quick panels to just reflect on a few things. Indeed, this is just the beginning. I think the challenge from Professor's keynote address is that the assessment bodies, the training teams, the schools and institutions, we need to rethink. The curriculum developers, we have to rethink. How do we package things for all those things Professor mentioned? how do we ensure that those things can be assessed? How shall we link up the assessment with what people are able to do? So I want to thank you once again. And after the signing, there will be photo moment, and people who are managing the program will tell us who is on the signing on the photograph team. So thank you very much once again, and God bless you.
A round of applause for Dr. Kedres. And of course, with that, because we are going to be wrapping through this particular session, I will request our guest of honor, our chief guest. All right, we will have our chief guest. Let's have the sanitizer closed, because the markers will definitely need to be sanitized. The chief guest will sign this commemorative foundation board. She will sign the commemorative foundation board. Our sanitizer is as closed, because we still do know that we are in the COVID-19 period. Yes, our chief guest, the Right Honorable Justine Kasule Lumumba, is signing on that commemorative board as we look at the 10 years of UBTEB in existence. And right after that, we are going to take our group photo. Right after that, we are going to have our group photo.
So I call upon all the pioneer staff of UBTEB 2011-2012 staff. All come forward. UBTEB staff 2011-2012.
Our chief guest, we request that you will take the center, and we will have a group photo taken. First with the panel as it was, and then we will have the groups that will be called out.
Federation of Uganda Employers, kindly join us. Professor Valia.
Wait.
Professor Kabasa, kindly join us forward. Professor Simeon, kindly join us.
I am also requesting that the others who are joining us feel free to stand at the back so we can have a balanced picture as we do. But we do recognize the presence of Professor Simeon Wanyama, who was the first board chair. We will have the other groups, and we will request as we will take to the back.
The other group, kindly, the UBTEB staff, pioneer staff, you can come behind as this team remains here. Let's just be behind. Doctor, kindly remain.
UBTEB staff, I request that we take the back,
Yeah,
please. Let's go to the back and stand up so we can have a balanced picture for the media. Professor Baria Mreva, I do not see you in the picture. The UBTEB staff, the picture is whole, so we can stand throughout. There is a lot of space this side. I realize we are all standing next to the chief guest. Maybe I request that we have this board up so that we can. All right, let's stand right behind that board.
Professor Okinya, engineer, join us kindly. Thank you. Mr. Xavier Lubanga, our beloved PS, kindly. Other UBTEB staff, kindly join. Now these pioneers would leave so that we have space behind here for the new UBTEB staff. I'm being advised there are also staff so they could stay. My concern is about whether we shall be able to see all the faces, because the staff is about 94. So with 94 people, I don't know whether we shall
all
be able
the
to see everyone.
UBTEB staff, kindly let's have this joined so that we can be able to finish the picture moment.
And it's a once in a lifetime.
We need to have our chief guest leave. The other staff, kindly come and join.
After the UBTEB staff, we shall be able to have the board members or the board members of UBTEB come forward. After the UBTEB staff, we shall have all the board members of UBTEB coming forward.
The staff members, you're still very young and energetic. Let's run. The chief guest doesn't have a lot of time to stay longer.
And they're in TVET. Where
So please,
skills.
let's run. Quicken this up so we can have the this picture taken because I'm going to close it in 30 seconds.
Just try to make sure your face can be seen with a smile. Wear your masks kindly, members. We are publishing these photos. Wear your masks. Wear your masks kindly. We are publishing the photos. Okay, let's go on. Naras, it's fine. It's fine. Let's continue.
All right, all the stuff are done. We can take our leave.
Board members of UBTEB, kindly come forward. The current board. And after the current board, we shall have the principals of all the training institutions and their umbrella associations here.
I'm kindly requesting, as the board members, we could also use this other entrance, this side. As the others get down, we could use this other side to come up as well.
Board members, kindly. After that, we shall have the principals of the training institutions and the umbrella associations that they belong to. So kindly, principals, be coming forward.
Board members, are we ready? Let's get ready for the picture. Let's all be in sync, in character, as we take the picture.
I can see the smiles. Oh, wonderful. How lovely to be a board member of UBTEB. Wow, 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 wow. I can see the smiles. Yes.
Thank you very much. We can have
the principals of institutions and other providers of TVET in this house. All of us come forward and get behind here.
Board members, you could step down, and we have the principals as well.
And the alumni, just get ready. You'll be among our very last and most important categories. Yes, yes. And those are the principals and heads of training institutions in TVET in this country, with all the shining faces. Wow, Silva. Wow, I can see Sister Rose. Wow, wonderful. The alumni, Mr. Mwesezi and Caroline, as the last.
All right, thank you very much. Our chief guest is time bound, but we request, Madam, before you leave, let's kindly have a commemorative picture at our cake. Although that was scheduled to be a rather later event, but just to take a picture commemoratively with our cake, if you do not mind, our chief guest. Let's move with your team to the cake, have that commemorative picture, and then we will let you move. We do apologize for any inconveniences, Madam Kasule Lumumba, but this is a great day. It is a very great day for UBTEB, and therefore it would be very important.
And once that is done, we're going to be going out for lunch. I'm going to request a team of the organizing secretariat to lead the high table, including the chief guest and the entrance, to the restaurant where they're going to have their lunch.
Elgon Restaurant will be the place where our chief guest, together with the other distinguished guests, that's where they will be having lunch.
Wow.
And the rest of us, we will be having our lunch at the poolside. I want to believe that you have all received your lunch coupons, which the UBTEB staff will be bringing out.
And after lunch, ladies and gentlemen, don't just depart. We have very, very important functions going to take place here. We have panel discussions, but more importantly, we also have awards and special recognition certificates, and you could just be one of those of the list of 200 people I have here. So kindly don't disappear.
All right, we will cut the cake at 3, 2, 1, and we go.
Check the button. So UBTEB Secretariat organizing team, kindly lead us to where lunch is, led by Madam Diana. Kindly lead our chief guest to where the lunch is going to be. And equally, we also are going to be led to where we're going to have our lunch at the side of the pool. Opposite the pool, we're going to have our lunch there. And immediately after lunch, let's agree to be here within 45 minutes from now so that we can resume our sessions. Ensure you have a coupon before you go. Ensure you have your coupon before you go for lunch. A lot awaits us. Kindly, let's mark time as we take our lunch. God bless you.
So let's make sure that we are neighbors keepers. By 15 minutes to 2, we should all be back here because we have quite a number of sessions that will be going on.